Welcome back, everyone. I had to rewatch the other thing again. I know how to save now. I know how to save. I was messing around with settings off this because I had, oh my god. It was an ordeal. I had to like update stuff for this to work again. I couldn't screenshot anything. I couldn't do anything. That was weird. Anyway, during my adventure of trying to figure out what the heck was happening with my PC, I found the manual, and it actually has an about section for the game, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. So this might be the about section right now that's gonna happen. If it's not, then I might explain some stuff. I might open it up real quick, but right now I'm playing full screen. Hopefully nothing goes bad. I'm scared. So let's go. It is Tokyo 2020X. After Japan went to great lengths to host the Olympic Games, the international sporting event ended in record-breaking failure. Burdened with massive debt, the nation was plagued into economic insecurity. This is so flashy, my eyes. Yeah, this is gonna be the backstory for what the timeline is. The poverty rate, which had been slowly growing since the late 2010s, showed no signs of abating. Then, starting in the early 2020s, the gulf between the rich and the poor widened dramatically. Young people in particular were especially impoverished? Am I reading that right? And the underemployment rate soared to more than 60% for both men and women. Even with a full-time job, they knew they would be overworked and underpaid, thus the suicide rate shot up. Also increasing exponentially among young people for the first time ever, homelessness and crime rates. I can't get over how beautiful this game looks, just the vivid color is so good. The nation of Japan was visibly heading into decline. This was a major recession on a historic level. The one outlier was Shinkoyumi. Shinkoyumi. I don't know how to say that. Until someone else says it. Previously called Tokyo Waterfront City, this was the only part of the country where casinos were legally allowed to operate. As a result, it was re-established as a special economic zone. This music is hacking my brain. My brain! But the government's infamous casino bill received criticism on all sides. At the start of construction, the hired contractor, the Takasato Gumi, was suspected of rigging bids for the contract. I'm not sure how to say that word after tremendous? Sorry, English. After tremendous struggle, they eventually settled on a more realistic proposal. The bill would only legalize small-scale public casinos in specific areas. When the dust settled, all that remained was a steel frame monument on a vacant lot and a community of prostitutes and vagrants. But then there came a turning point. I'm blind! Wow, man, the artist, wow. It's been a while for me. Like, specifically, like, seeing, like, this kind of, like, art style has been so long, and I'm just like, whoa, so good. The leader of the Takasato Gumi, Takasato Ryujiro? I don't know, offered to buy the whole thing and take over operations. Everyone assumed it would end in failure, but as it turned out, he received a great deal of funding behind the scenes. Okay. Also, one thing I discovered about this game is that there is no hotkey for screenshots, and every time I try to take a screenshot with like the suggested button, like F12, it would not do anything. It would destroy like my G-force, and I would be like, I am not doing this anymore. In this dark era, the people wanted someone to change things, so they clung to the first ray of hope they thought they saw. Hold on. The text speed was so low. Okay. Oh, that's a little too fast still. You can tell like I'm like a little faster than the text. Okay. Apply. I like this. I like how this and then you see it. It's like but you're watching it on TV. Okay, I'm good. Plagued with crushing national debt and a dying economy, the government had no other option. A short time later, after an agonizing battle, the Takasato Gumi was given full control of Shinkomi, development and operations. I'll learn sooner or later. None opposed the subsequent amendment to the casino bill, which slashed the public-only requirement. Oh. Oh. Is Towa drawing this? Oh. It didn't click in my mind that it was like a sketch. I'm so dumb. A year later, the city was overflowing with people in pursuit of liberty and money. Lured in by the all-encompassing resort facilities, international tourism increased by 60%. And so Shinkomi became known as Japan's greatest casino resort. Office buildings and recreational attractions sprang up one after another, creating a massive entertainment district. Next came the residential and business districts, and after that, Shinkomi, I'll get it. I'm not going to be confident until I hear someone say it, became the one bright spot amid the devastating depression. Meanwhile, it required a certain amount of aggressive force to control a world full of unspoken rules. As Shinkoumi brought Japan's economy back to life, the Takasato Gumi began to expand their control. Eventually, when the tacit threats stopped working, the government redesigned Shinkomi as a special administrative region. After that, the Takasato Gumi eventually had their own little nation that they could govern as they saw fit. Card only, cash only. So, you have to pay to get in. But this splash dash prosperity was never destined to last long. Everything began to decline at a slow, leisurely pace. Changed. Now, more than a decade later, in the year 20XX. Oh. Oh, there is a dark spot. What? Is there a dark spot? The generation born during the decline of the early 20th century were henceforth called hapless children. Day in and day out, they traveled to the business district either to forget their chronic depression to earn enough money to eat that day. The casino industry was still thriving, but the bubble had burst. And as Shinkomi started to decay, criminal activity became more common. Nevertheless, with one last shred of hope in their hearts, they lingered in this lawless town. Ooh. Oh shit. There's someone at my door! God, I'm missing something! Oh well. I'll stay here. Someone was knocking at my door. It's happening. Chapter 1. I missed the opening of the chapter. I'm not even gonna try that. I think I could have stopped it. Hold on. Hold on. I think I got mail. Hold on. I thought I wasn't gonna get my order today. So I was like, oh. And it was like an unmarked van, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Okay. On a quiet corner of a residential block, Murase? Oh wait, actually, I wonder if I can go back. There is no use. This is... Oh, cool. So I can... Sorry, I missed it. You guys didn't, but... It's no use. This just isn't enough. Not anymore. Okay. Okay, Murase Clinic stood concealed among the rows of prefab houses. Refurbished? Prefab? This tiny clinic first opened 7 years ago, privately owned and operated by Murase Takuma himself. Specializing in internal medicine, dermatology, and gastroenterology, Dr. Murase, I don't know, had an understanding reputation that attracted patients not just from the local neighborhood, but workers from the business district too. The clinic opened its doors somewhat late, at 10 a.m. From 1:30 p.m. to 4 p.m., Taka would take a long lunch. Then after he got back, he stayed open until 1 a.m. His unusual hours were dearly appreciated by night workers who couldn't find time to go to the doctor otherwise. I had a part-time job here at this clinic. In exchange for low wages, Taku let me sleep in the apartment upstairs on the top floor of the clinic. Below that, the second floor was home to the secondary medical ward, full of hospital cots. The primary medical ward was down on the first floor next to the exam room. As for Taku himself, he didn't live here at the clinic. I never asked for this job or this rental room, it was all his idea. He wanted me to build character or something. That was why he never fired me, no matter how badly I overslept. Oh my god. Conversely, you could say he didn't put any stock in me whatsoever. I didn't fight it since it would only create more of a hassle, but I wasn't interested in improving my life. Oh my god. If he got sick of me and threw me out on the street, then so be it. Oh, baby. I felt no fear towards the future. Not because I couldn't picture it, but because I had no real sense of urgency. I know it would all work out regardless. Or maybe I just didn't have anything left to lose. Okay. He's such a different character compared to like other main pro tags. It's sort of refreshing, but also a little like alarming for me. He's so pretty, I can't handle it. As soon as I walked out of the bathroom, a yawn escaped my lips. I hadn't bothered to dry my hair. Sleepily, I scanned the room with one blurry eye. On a whim, my gaze settled on the pocket watch hanging on the easel in the corner of the room. I couldn't remember when or where I got it, but Ray put it on the easel after he found it lying around somewhere in my room. That was a few years back. The watch itself was stopped, but I didn't feel like winding it, so it was basically just there for decoration. Instead of the non-functioning pocket watch, I looked up at the wall clock. It was just past 11:15 a.m. If I didn't hurry down to the first floor, Taku was going to come raging up here any minute now. I got dressed and left the apartment without bothering to lock it behind me. When I walked to the elevator and pressed the down button. There was nothing in that apartment worth stealing anyway. Maybe the pocket watch. Something about that pocket watch is important. It has euphoria on it. I rode the elevator down to the first floor, then headed to the waiting room. I didn't read the corner thing. Maybe it'll be important. Oh, I don't like when games do this, but at the same time, it's like you're not gonna be able to change anything. You can only see what you've done in the past. Sitting at the reception desk where I worked was an uptight guy by the name of Iramura Tasukasa. I don't know, sorry. Oh. I forget about this, like, aura thing. When he spotted me, he scowled, rose to his feet, and left the desk. The look on his face screamed, "You're late." Technically, I was supposed to be covering the reception desk, but Ramura must have come in to cover for me. This happened on occasion, and that occasion happened a lot. An aura of faded blue swayed around Iramura. I called this colorful aura smoke. Apparently only I could see it. Each person had their own uniquely colored smoke, which shifted depending on their mental state. The most obvious change happened when someone was angry. The color would get muddy. I couldn't see my own smoke, however. No clue when I first started seeing it. From what I could remember, I used to think everyone could see it. Once I found out that wasn't the case, I stopped telling people about it. Was it some kind of superpower? Probably not. Oh my god. More than likely, it was proof that something was wrong with me, like a hallucination. Hence, I generally didn't give it much thought. Bitch. I called out to Iramura in spite of his resting bitch face. He was the most reliable nurse Murase clinic had. Whenever his shift ended, he would go downtown to go drinking at a gay bar. Apparently, I wasn't his type.
Towa-san.
Towa.
遅れて悪かったって。
いいえ、それは今更なのでもういいです。それより、自分宛ての荷物はちゃんと持って行ってください。いつも置きっぱなしじゃないですか。
ああ。
放置するなら処分しますから。
All mail delivered to the clinic was taken to the staff room. Iramura was in charge of sorting it. Sometimes I would buy art supplies or books online, but other than that, I never got any packages. So if I received anything else in the mail, I just assumed it was junk and didn't bother collecting it.
それでいいよ。
His eyes narrowed even further, but I ignored him and stepped into the staff room. The reception desk and staff room were divided by a single curtain. I pushed past it and arrived at the reception desk interior. Iramura gave me a dirty look and walked off down the hall. Oh, look at him! Oh, he's so pretty. Why are you pretty? I hate it. Basically, I hate that you're a disaster, but you're pretty, so I'll allow it. From here on, I would spend the next few hours bored out of my skull. The clinic was quiet, peaceful, and utterly devoid of stimulus. Stimuli? I called the next patient up to pay their bill, then I set their medical exam card, insurance card, itemized bill, and prescription up on the counter. Robotically, I processed the payment, then, biting back another yawn, I called for the next patient to proceed to the exam room. Atelier. Today my shift ended in the afternoon, so I headed back to my apartment. Oh my god, boy. I didn't see it before, but now I see it all. Oh no. I was so distracted by everything else. I lounged lazily on the sofa for a while, then after the clinic closed, I headed back downstairs. No real reason, I was just bored of my apartment. Hello, Taku. As I sat slumped on the bench in the empty waiting room, Taku walked out of the hallway, his orange smoke hanging over him. Stretching his arms up, he turned his head from side to side, cracking his neck loudly. I half wondered if he broke something. Speaking of which, time to stretch. Oh, my neck cracked. That was my spine. Yeah, okay. Oh, wow. I actually needed that.
お疲れ。
I didn't mean a word of it, though. He snorted at me.
寝坊常習犯に言われたくないな。
ちゃんと働いただろ。
Hey, I worked hard.
そう言いたければ朝はちゃんと起きろよ。俺。
He pulled something out of his coat and tossed it at me. I caught it and looked down. It was a can of coffee.
入れてくれないのか？
お前なんか缶コーヒーで十分だ。
Buddy, you don't deserve fresh coffee. That being said, he was still treating me to a free drink as a token of his appreciation. Taku bought cans, coffee in bulk, and kept the staff room fridge stocked at all times for this exact reason. Sometimes when he was feeling up to it, he'd make fresh coffee instead, but for the most part, he took the faster, easier option.
備品の発注と掃除終わりました。
This, wow. Right as I cracked open the can, the exam room door opened and a bubbly voice rang out. Oh my god, that's his voice? Oh my god. It was Izumi Rei, one of the other part-timers. Why is he cute? I hate myself. Why am I like this? But look at him. The man of the hour. His main job was at a bar called Roost, but since they didn't open until 5 p.m., he would often pick up shifts at the clinic to fill time. Evidently, he wasn't working at Roost tonight since he was still here this late. Our clinic employed 2 nurses, 4 part-timers, and 1 doctor.
お、ありがとな。
Smiling, Taku looked over at Rei and raised a hand in acknowledgement.
全然いいのよ。気にしないで。
Like, don't even worry about it. God. Oh my god.
お疲れ。
But as soon as Rei laid eyes on me, he stormed right over to me.
ちょっと。
Excuse you.
ん？
What?
あんた今日も寝坊したでしょ。有村君に仕事を押し付けて。
Arimura-kun.
少しだけだろ。
Just...
開き直らないの。寝坊は寝坊よ。
He put his hands on his hips and scolded me like he was my mom. Ah, yellow. But his smoke was bright yellow, and since it wasn't swaying, I could tell he wasn't really that angry. Born to a Japanese father and an English mother, he had a well-sculpted face. Because of this, he was wildly popular with our patients, particularly women. Bleh.
もうあんまり迷惑かけないようにしてよね。有村君、とっても真面目に働いてくれてるんだから。
そうだそうだ。もっと言ってやれ。
They're ganging up on him. Taku leaned back against the reception counter and cracked open his can with a smirk. Believe it or not, he was pretty well liked too. Hiding beneath that stubble and post-work fatigue was a manly rough Han? Fatigue was a manly rough Han face. Oh my god. We're gonna enter the game where I'm just like, what the fuck is that word? Because I'm not smart enough for this. Plus, the patients all praised his warm bedside manner. To them, his messy hair and stubble was rugged rather than lazy. Weird how this somehow never applied to me. You don't put passion into your stuff besides art, probably.
で、そういや有村君は帰ったか？
とっくの昔に。
そうか。今日はいつもより長く入ってくれて助かったよ、レイ。ありがとな。
どういたしまして。お礼はスイーツでもいいのよ。
Oh.
ファミレスのパフェでいいか？
A parfait. I want a parfait.
オッケー。
Okie dokie. As I watched their conversation from the sidelines, my gaze drifted to Taku.
疲れてるな。
ん？
疲れてる。顔が。
おう。
Grimacing, he touched his cheek and sighed. Granted, he always looked tired, but lately it was more notable than ever.
何？疲れてるの？寝不足？
それもあるが、気疲れだ。
Hmm.
気疲れ？
He let an even bigger sigh.
うちの患者さん、夜の仕事についてる人も多いだろ。
そうね。昼間はお年寄りや子連れの人もいるけど、深夜になると男女関係なく夜の仕事の人が増えるわね。
ま、その中には事情があって働いてるって人も結構いてな。診察中に悩みを相談されることもあるわけだ。
Hmm.
悩みって、ああ、メンタル面でってことか。
そうだ、家庭の事情だったり、友人や知人には簡単に話せないような重い話だったりな。心の方は専門外だから治療できんが、相談があった時はできる限り話を聞くようにはしてる。無下にするわけにもいかないし、それで患者さんの心が少しでも軽くなるならいいだろ。
そうね。
で、悩み相談ってのは前からちょくちょくあったんだが、どうも最近そういう患者さんが多くてな。
There's been a lot. I wonder if this is like a part of the bigger story.
多い？増えたってこと？
うん。少し前までは1週間に1人2人くらいだったんだが、明らかに増えてる。それに
Not only that, he seems to remember something. He stopped short and looked away.
切羽詰まった患者さんが増えた気がするんだ。話をしているうちに泣き出したり、いきなり声を荒げたりとかな。
Oh.
たまに診察室から怒鳴り声が聞こえてくるけど、あれってそういうことだったんだ。
できることならメンタルケアもしてやりたいとは思うんだが、そうもいかないからな。
Because he's a like he said before, he's a doctor, not a therapist.
ただ、感情が高ぶってる状態の患者をないがしろにするわけにもいかんだろ。
そうね。最近診察時間がやけに長い患者さんがいるなぁとは思ってたけど。
どう対応したらいいものかってずっと考えてるんだが。
Oh, my dog is demanding my attention. Oh, there she is. Rubbing the back of his hand. Taku let out his baby. Okay, let me get. Oh no, hold on. Okay, she wanted to go outside. Rubbing the back of his hand, Taku let out his third sigh of the night. But really, was it any wonder that more and more of his patients were starting to have mental health problems? Over the past decade, Japan's younger generation had been plugged into extreme poverty. A few years ago, you'd see people on TV yelling about the 20 to 30 age demographics' inability to save money or find a stable career, but now it was even worse. These days, you saw women curled up in their underwear on the sidewalk while men started fights and mugged strangers. Young teenagers were dressed in slutty clothes to work the corners. Compared to 10 years ago, there were a lot more murder cases, and many of them were either unsolved or dropped. The cops were useless too. They couldn't keep up with the growing number of criminals. But of course, here under the Takatsato Gumi's thumb, the police force was basically just there for decoration. The gig economy had become commonplace, so jobs were scarce. The cost of living was high, and wages were at an all-time low. These things all helped drive people to rock bottom, where they had no choice but to keep living. The nation of Japan was seeing povertization on a level that a few decades ago was never seen outside dystopian fiction. Shinkoumi had a disproportionately large number of hospitals, possibly in correlation to the crime levels. Naturally, there were plenty of unlicensed or back alley doctors to be found here. These days, hospitals probably had to serve as battered women's shelters on top of everything else. Like Taku said, doctors had a sworn duty to help people, and people here needed and people here needed help, not just with their bodies, but with their minds too.
つまり心を病んでる奴が多いってことだろ。
God, Towa, so basically you got a lot of nut jobs coming in. Oh my god. Taku and Ray both turned to look at me.
その言い方、俺は好かんな。
Yeah. Towa, please.
別に間違ってない。
I downed my coffee, set the empty can on the floor, and rose to my feet.
どこ行くの？
散歩。
ちょっと。
But I ignored Ray's frustrated retort, walked to the front door, and left the building. Okay, I'm gonna stop here. Thank you everyone for joining me. If you're interested in playing the game yourself, links are in the description. I also will have a link to the guide that I'm going to be using this LP. It is a mature game. Should have said that at the beginning of it, but it's a mature game. Cool. See you next time. Bye-bye.